Hello, friends. Welcome to the Truth to You Daily Podcast with Brother Scott. We are thrilled that you have taken time out of your day to explore with us God's timeless truth. Regardless of who we are, we all need the light of God's Word to illuminate our path for this day. And now, here is our youth pastor, Brother Scott.
Hello and welcome back to the Truth to You podcast. It's December the 6th. It's Wednesday. That means Brother Sam's with us here in the studio, fresh off of Thanksgiving break. How are you, Brother Sam?
I'm doing great. Still feeling the effects of Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah, I think we all are.
You wouldn't recognize me right now. I'm twice the size I was a week ago.
We had to widen the door.
We did.
When you came in here. Did you have leftovers for a few days?
Yeah,
or?
we did. We took some home with us. We had some the day after, obviously, and then actually took a break from it, you know? You gotta take a break from it because you don't want to have too much of a good thing.
That's very true.
And then take some leftovers home. We were up in New Jersey, and when we came back home, had some leftovers.
That's awesome. We were recounting the meals that we had right around Thanksgiving, and in a short span of time, had deer, turkey, duck, chicken, and pork.
Wow.
And didn't have the beef.
Oh.
And beef is probably the most common thing we didn't get to. So we got 3 on Thanksgiving Day in the turducken. That's just tradition.
Wow.
We do that, and it was a great time.
Yeah, I mean that man. If you had just
covered all
added
the
the
bases.
beef, you would have had covered everything.
Right.
That's
so
crazy.
now it's back to tofu. And
I see.
I'm just
You're
kidding.
a tofu man now.
Tofurkey, actually. How did we get on that? Okay, we're supposed to be talking about the
Only
joke
on
of the
Wednesdays.
day. Exactly. Let's get to the joke of the day.
We're going straight to the joke of the day.
Do you have that? Do you have a joke?
I do have one.
Okay.
So
all right, we're ready.
This one actually falls more in line with a little bit of my line of work. It's kind of a IT joke of the day.
Okay.
Sort of. A little
all
bit,
right.
but I think
Fantastic.
everybody will get it. So
right.
Every once in a while, password audits are done, make sure everybody's compliant and everything. It was found out that there was a blonde woman that was using a really interesting password. Okay, and this here was her password that she was using.
I can only imagine.
One word, no spaces. Okay.
Yep.
Mickey, Minnie, Pluto, Huey, Louie, Dewey, Donald, Goofy, Sacramento.
Okay.
You want me to read that again for you? Mickey, Minnie, Pluto, Huey, Louie, Dewey, Donald, Goofy, Sacramento. One word, no spaces.
Okay.
And so we asked why she had such a long password, and she said that it told her it needed to be at least 8 characters long and include at least 1 capital.
That's a great joke, Sam. I really like that one. You told that well. My only fear, though, is that we've got some people out there who may find...
Who have that as a password?
They may...
We just exposed their password that they use.
Right,
If this is you might want to change that.
Right. What do we do if they're not blonde, though?
Oh, well...
That would be a twist, a plot twist.
That would be a plot twist.
Yeah. All right. Listen, don't turn us off, okay? We mean nothing in the spirit of meanness, everything in love. We're glad you're here, regardless of your hair color.
Exactly.
Yeah. And great joke there, Sam, to kick us off. All right. Where are we? We're in the book of 1 Samuel.
Yes. You have verse of the day?
We do. Verse of the week. We'll get to our memory verse here. 1 Samuel 12 and verse 16. Now therefore stand and see this great thing which the Lord will do before your eyes. 1 Samuel 12 and verse 16. I chose this verse because it's really a God can mentality.
Yes.
I love it. So 1 Samuel 12 and verse 16. Now therefore stand and see this great thing which the Lord will do before your eyes. Okay, Brother Sam, kick us off with our verse, and we're going to get to and talk about.
Sure, yes. We're in 1 Samuel 18 today, and the verse that we've got chosen is 1 Samuel 18:29, and that states, "And Saul was yet the more afraid of David, and Saul became David's enemy continually."
Yeah, this is really interesting to me. And when you just really follow each word in its setting in verse 29, it really piqued my interest. Saul was yet the more afraid.
This is not the first time he's feared
David. Right.
It's the peak of where it's been so far.
It's building.
Right.
It's building. So Very interesting here. And as soon as I read this, I think about all of those physical things that we read about in earlier chapters. Saul would have been older than David. Saul would have been taller than David.
Right.
The Bible says he was head and shoulders above everybody.
Right.
Saul is the one who holds the higher position, although he knows he will not in a short while. But he's got all of these things and
that are going for him, so to speak.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And yet he's worried about David.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here this is going on. And so we're going to delve into why. Why is he more fearful of David than he used to be, according to what this chapter tells us? Help us with that.
Yeah. So the Bible here, it says that in verse 28, one of the first things that you can see is that it says, And Saul saw and knew that the Lord was with David, and that Michal, Saul's daughter, loved him. So now you've got an interesting dynamic because things are becoming extremely personal. Because you have your daughter who is, starting to fall in love with David, this, who is now, in Saul's mind, his enemy.
Yeah, right.
And I find this really interesting because if you actually go back, and I don't know if you guys have already read the reading of this chapter today or not, but if you go back to verse 20 and 21, you can see it says, And Michal, Saul's daughter, loved David, and they told Saul, and the thing pleased him.
Huh.
So that's a little bit opposite of what you would think. But then you go to verse 21, and it says, And Saul said, I will give him her, that she may be a snare to him.
Yeah, wow. Yeah.
So, and there, his idea is to use, and this is what blows my brain, is that he's like to the point of hating David so much, he's willing to use his daughter, his own daughter, to hurt his enemy.
Oh, wow. Eaten up with jealousy.
Yeah.
Just jealousy and pride and all kinds of things. My goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he's a mess at this point as far as
Sure.
where he is mentally.
Sure.
And I mean, I think it's also good to point out that Michal is not the only family member that loves David.
Very true.
Jonathan as well.
Yeah, he's
and
right
we'll
in there.
see that, in the next chapter as well.
Yeah.
So...
Right, so David's getting he's getting attention. Yeah. He's getting attention that Saul is not getting, and he's getting it from people that are seemingly close to Saul.
Very close to Saul, yeah.
So, can you think of a moment in your life where something like this happened to you?
So, yeah. Interestingly enough, I'm going to go all the way back to when I was probably like 6 or 7 years old.
We'll go with you, brother. Go.
Okay. So, back then, they would have, and I think they still do, in our town of Manassas, they would have train day, and they would have a bunch of model trains come out, and people would put their trains out. And, as a 7-year-old kid, I absolutely loved that. So,
yeah, sure.
So, I went out there with our family, and I had my best friend and his family, we came out. And so we were looking at, and they had these pop-up tents where all the trains were set up. And so we're looking there, and I see out of the corner of my eye, I see a newspaper cameraman coming up. And I'm like, ooh, interesting. So I kind of shimmy over to try to get in, not photo bombing, but like, oh, maybe he'll get a picture of me or whatever. Well, then he actually lines up and sees me standing next to my friend, and he gets in front of us and frames up for a picture. I'm like, oh, this is great. He's actually going to take a picture of us. So I looked and I cheesed right at the camera and smiled.
Yeah.
And at that time, there was a train that came out of the little tunnel there, and my friend saw it, and he, with joy in his eyes, opened his eyes and pointed, and with a big smile across his face, and that's when they took the picture.
Oh.
2 days later,
yeah,
the newspaper comes out, and my friend's giant face is on the entire front. He is the front page of the newspaper, and I am not there. I am cropped out, and I was right next to him. And I was very upset.
That is great.
And my friend comes over and he gives me. He's like, "Here, I've got 10 newspapers. Here, do you want one?" And I'm like, "No, man, I'm good."
Oh wow. Well, that's a very personal story.
Yes,
I appreciate you sharing that with us, because I'm
still deeply hurt by it.
I'm sure that your best friend there he was the one that got the attention. And that can be hard. I mean, this happens to all of us.
Right.
And it obviously it's not as significant maybe as a moment like what you had on the front of a newspaper.
Oh, never.
The chance to be. But nonetheless, there are times we see other people receive attention that maybe we want. Or we desire. And we can talk about maybe how we can respond to that. But let's get to the second thing here, because like you said, verse 28 really is the key to us understanding this idea of Saul being more afraid of David. And so we go back to verse 28, and you talked about, his loved ones, but notice that it says, and Saul saw and knew that the Lord was with David. And so I think this is the other part of that, which is, David's not only receiving, attention from people that Saul loves and that are part of his family, but Saul is watching as David finds this special favor with the Lord. Mm-hmm. And now the Lord has moved away from Saul and has directed himself towards David, who we know was a man after God's own heart. So he's struggling here. Saul's struggling with the attention, but he's also struggling with the special privilege now that David has been given. Yeah. So this takes me back to my childhood. I mean, our listeners are learning about the way that we were when we were kids, but I remember when I was in elementary school. In fact, this was in K-5. Okay. We had a K-5 program, and I was chosen to be Daniel. Oh, we were doing Daniel in the Lion's Den.
That's a big.
And I remember being thrilled.
Yes, I would be
at the chance to do this. And so practice came up. We had several rehearsals, and I enjoyed having a good time. Mm-hmm. I loved being able to laugh with my friends and do all of that. And more than anybody, you direct our Christmas cantata, but there are moments where you're working with another part of the cast.
Yes.
I found myself in one of these moments. I don't know if it was the lions, the kids that were supposed to be lions, or the guards. I don't know what it was, but I was over on the other side of the stage, and I was in my own little world, doing my own thing. Brother Sam, I got replaced.
Oh,
I got right then and there. No. In that rehearsal, I got demoted.
You got cut?
Cut. From being Daniel. I mean, I went from being Daniel to being an extra. I don't know. They may have let me hold a sign or something. I mean, it was just, and I still remember watching the other person.
Who
got to do that job, and oh man, it just about killed me in my K-5 world there. Yeah. But nonetheless, I mean, seeing someone else be rewarded or get a special privilege that we in our justice system feel like we deserve or we should have can be a hard thing. Mm-hmm. And certainly it was much in large part because I had ruined it for myself.
Right.
And I couldn't blame anybody but myself. But there may be some people listening that they've not done anything wrong.
Exactly.
Right? Mm-hmm. And they find themselves in a situation where someone's getting a special privilege that they've not gotten. And that can be a hard thing. What are some things that we can do? What's the right way that we can respond in those moments, even though it may be contrary to us? What comes to mind?
I mean, a really great thing is to be able to say, hey, I genuinely am happy for you, to go up in them and say, hey, that's really great that you had that opportunity, and really try. I know it might be hard.
Yeah.
And you might be disappointed that you might not have that opportunity that they have.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that I think you can legitimately still be, have the disappointment that, maybe that didn't happen to you, mm-hmm. but at the same time be actually happy and genuinely happy in your heart for that other person.
Yeah, that's good.
Like case in point, and when you guys have, some of you might have jobs, or if you don't, you will someday.
Yep.
If somebody else gets promoted in place of you.
Yep.
And that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And in those scenarios, you have a choice. Okay, am I going to be bitter towards this person because they got, and maybe they deserve to be promoted, maybe they didn't, but you have the choice there to say, hey, I'm still going to keep doing my best, and I'm going to be happy for the opportunity that they have.
Yeah. So. Absolutely. And I think really, those are character building moments, right?
Oh, yeah.
Sure. And I remember it. Just like it was yesterday in terms of how I felt. But at the same time, I learned a very valuable lesson. I think the other thing, too, to kind of build on what you said, is to be thankful for what we do have.
Exactly.
Those moments, I'm thankful for the love that I receive from these people. or the attention that I receive from, these people. Or if I don't find myself receiving attention from man, maybe I can lean on the fact that my God loves me and I'm not earning favor with him.
It's really easy to overlook what we already have.
And 100%.
Not be grateful. I mean, we just came through, Thanksgiving season, and it's especially being Americans, we very quickly forget all the little things in our life that we have that God has given to us that we did not earn on our own.
No.
And, we need to be thankful for those things. And, if God promotes somebody else or somebody else gets, an opportunity that we don't have, say, hey, that's great for them, and I'm happy with what God's blessed me with what I have currently.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's good stuff, Brother Sam. All right, so we talked about Saul today. He saw in David just this fear is just building inside of him, much in large part because of the attention that he was receiving and the special privilege he seemed to be getting from the Lord. But Saul could have turned this around.
Yes.
The ball was in his court, and he's choosing to respond.
This wasn't a completely preset path of,
exactly.
David has to be my enemy
exactly.
here.
Right, yeah.
This was his decision.
Yeah,
he just made it worse.
A downward spiral in play, and he's only hurting himself.
Yeah, and I think that goes to show also for us in our lives, when we even if we start, heading down a wrong path, it doesn't mean that we're destined to continue going down there. We can turn around, we can ask God for help and say, hey, we handled this wrong. Yeah. God help me. And he can help us pull out of that.
Yeah, he can. He can. All right. Excellent advice there, Brother Sam. Appreciate you being with us today. Before we go, I want to mention our teenager of the day, which is David. And we're praying for David. David, if you're listening, I want you to know that we love you, appreciate you, and you're in our thoughts and prayers today. Thanks for listening. We appreciate you, Brother Sam, being here again with us.
Always
and
a pleasure.
Look forward to next week.
Yes, sir. See you then.
All right. Take care. Bye.